Hello fellow conquerors, Danny Stone here for another tutorial video, this time on the subject of manpower. Manpower is a concept that seems so simple, yet can be incredibly difficult to master, notably when it comes to increasing your manpower and its regeneration rate. In this video, we will briefly discuss the concept of manpower and analyse different strategies on how to increase it to make sure you guys never fall short on the manpower front. Anyway, first of all, let's ask ourselves the basic question of what is manpower? Well, manpower, you can see, is located at the very top of your screen in the resource bar, and it basically the amount of people that are able to fight in your armies. Your manpower is used to create your cohorts, which is your troops, or replenish them when they have lost troops in battle due to attrition. Each time you recruit a unit, it will cost you some gold to form, but also some manpower. Each cohort is 1,000 men strong, and to illustrate this, I'll just click on one of my standing armies here and open up the army interface, and next to each army banner you have a number, and this is the strength of the cohort. As you can see, it has 1,000 men, so the cohort is 1,000 man strong. So each time you recruit a new unit, well basically it takes manpower out of your manpower pool. For example here, if I was to add to this army, let's say another unit of heavy infantry, you would see that I would lose 1,000 manpower when I click on the build button as well as the gold. If I click on it now, you will see I will now go down from 656,000 manpower to 655,000 manpower. Anyway, how does the game calculate how much manpower you have? Well, the maximum amount of manpower that you have depends on the number of pops in your realm. When I mean number of pops, I mean specifically the number of freemen, because it's the freemen who generate your manpower. The more freemen you have, the higher your manpower. If I move my mouse cursor over the manpower resource icon over here, you will see that it gives me a detailed description of how many men I actually have. As you can see, my maximum manpower is 925,000. This is due to a base manpower of 725,000, determined by the number of freemen in your empire. The more freemen you have, the higher your manpower cap. Then on top of this is added multiple modifiers that increase this number, these modifiers being inventions, religious omens, various trade goods, or national ideas. In my case, it is the surplus of grain and the export of grain, as well as a nice little buff called Roman morale, that get my manpower up to the maximum of 925,000. If you are not at your maximum manpower, you replenish a certain amount per month until you fill it to your maximum. In my case, I replenish 3,166 manpower per month, as you can see when I move my mouse cursor over the manpower resource pool at the top of the screen. Again, this number is increased depending on the number of freemen that you have and their output. The more freemen you have and the higher their output, the more manpower you will replenish per month. What happens is that the freemen in every territory produce a certain amount of manpower. This is if you have freemen in the territory. If you don't have freemen in a specific territory, you will not produce any manpower. For example, if I was to go to my capital city of Passaron here and click on the territory, it will open the city screen, and as you can see, I have 87 freeman pops here producing 208 manpower per month. Basically what happens, at the end of each month, the game adds all the manpower generated by every territory, adds it all together, and then adds them all at the end of the month. So basically, if I were to add the manpower generated by Passaron with the manpower generated by Thebes, with the manpower generated by Athens, and all the other cities that I possess that produce manpower, it will amount to the 3,166 manpower I get to replenish each month. So, to increase your maximum manpower and the rate at which it replenishes, you need freemen. To do this, in my humble opinion, there are two ways you can actually proceed. First of all, option 1. Make sure you build forums in your cities to increase the ideal freeman ratio. It's basically a fancy term meaning the number of freemen you have in a certain territory. What this does, it increases the amount of optimal freemen for a city, meaning the game will promote or demote pops from the other social categories in that specific city into freemen in order to get the desired ratio. To see the actual and desired ratios, just open the pop sections in the territories interface. For example, I'll open my capital Passaron again and open the pop section down here, which brings you to this screen here which details all your pops. All you need to do is find the little freeman icon under the classes section, and you'll have two numbers. At the top here is 27%, which is the actual freeman ratio, and underneath 33%, the optimal freeman ratio. Basically, what this means is that my city will now keep promoting freemen until we get that optimal 33%. So it will promote them out of the categories that we have too many pops of. So here you can see that I have too many slaves. I have 29% slaves in my capital for an optimal ratio of 18. So basically what this city is going to do is going to promote slaves into more freemen till we get to that 33% desired optimal ratio. The forum building will further increase the freeman's optimal ratio for that city. Couple the forums with training camps to increase even further the local manpower produced by a city, thus increasing the maximum manpower and the monthly replenishment rate at the same time. This is a good way if you are playing tall and you only have a few territories, so not so many. So specialising one of your few cities into major manpower hubs can be extremely useful due to limited space. If I'm not playing tall, I don't like to build forums because it demotes my citizens and slaves into freemen, therefore reducing the amount of research and money produced, because slaves produce cash and citizens also produce cash through commerce income and research points. This is why I don't really like doing it, because when playing like wide, it's just just gets rid of the money, and I need the money and I need the research. So this brings me to option number 2. When playing wide, which basically means having a vast empire with lots of territory, the best way to increase your manpower is to conquer more land and found more cities. The more land you have, the more cities you can have, thus increasing the number of possible freemen. When you play wide, you don't need to really build forums to increase the freeman ratio, because you'll have more land and therefore more cities. Instead, build libraries to increase the number of citizens, increasing the cash flow and the tech. Well, why do this, might you ask? If I need manpower, it just seems logical to build the forums and the training camps. Well, the answer is this. A city without any buildings affecting pot ratios have a base fraction ratio of 35% for citizens and freemen. This means that the city will automatically create and promote a certain amount of pops to freemen without building forums, thus sacrificing your citizen ratio. This is why the bigger you are, the more cities you have, and the more cities, the more freemen you will have at the end without the need of building the forum and sacrificing potential research and commerce income that the citizens bring. To illustrate this, I will use the example of my city in Apollonia. As you can see, the city of Apollonia has 45 freemen. This is without a single forum, and the city produces 93 manpower, which you can see here. Instead, I focused on building citizens which will bring me research and income, and as you can see, I have a whopping 87. In this Epiros playthrough where I'm playing quite wide, all of my cities are set up in this way. And as you can see, my maximum manpower is quite high at 925,000, and the replenishment rate at 3,166 is also pretty good. And this is all done without building the forums and training camps that increase the freeman ratio and increase the manpower. My cash flow is also fantastic at a whopping 193 gold per month, despite the fact that I have a huge army and navy. All of my armies are all on the outliner down the side here, and I have quite a few of them. This is why for me, when playing with a wide play style, option number 2 is the best way of dealing with the manpower problem. It basically gives you the best of both worlds. You get the freemen, which generate you the manpower, and you get the citizens, which generate you the income and the tech. Basically, no matter how many cities you do, the more you have, the more freemen you will automatically make in the cities anyway, because there is a certain percentage you will make without the use of forums. So it kind of basically balances it out, which makes it a viable option. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope it helped. If it did, please don't hesitate to hit that like button down below, and also don't hesitate to subscribe if you want to see some more tutorial videos just like this one. Thank you for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time for another episode of Imperator Academy. Later, people.